Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. No matter where you're following us from around the globe, I say thank you for allowing us into your homes, but most importantly, into your hearts. If you're watching us on the DBNA television network this afternoon, a sincere thank you to the sponsors and also the other outstanding talent that's on the network. Continue to support that. If you're listening to us in podcast form, we're just three Indiana boys. Kent, Bobby, and myself say, turn that knob up and let us put that flavor in your ear. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to lace them up once again with another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show. And you guys are not here to hear me. You guys are here to listen to two Indiana icons and legends, two members of the 1976 undefeated NCAA men's basketball team, Mr. Kent Benson and Mr. Bobby Wilkerson. Gentlemen, God bless you, and thank you for joining us live today.
Thank you,
Thank
Scott.
you for having us.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. Matter of fact, I was back home in Indiana last weekend. I'm living in Salt Lake City right now. I was visiting my family, and Kent, I got to see the Leprechauns play the Kokomo Bobcats with that TBL. So it was outstanding stuff.
Yes, it is. They're two good teams, and we're excited to be a part of that TBL, thebasketballleague.net. And we're called the Indiana All-Americans, and of course, we get to play the Kokomo Bobcats and the Lebanon Leprechauns.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll tell you what, another Indiana boy, Mr. David Magley and his wife, who are the owner of the league and also the president of the league, have got a great vision and allow, these players to get out and have community involvement and give back to the communities, which is outstanding. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely. David was an Indiana Mr. Basketball in 1978, come from South Bend, LaSalle and everything. And he's had tremendous experience in the Canadian Basketball League as a commissioner and a coach and what have you, and learned a lot of great lessons up there, and decided that, he could come here to the United States and has put together, he and his wife, Evelyn, has put together 44 teams nationwide, and tremendous competition all across the board. So it's it's not the NBA, it's not the G League, but the talent that's there. There's a lot of players that could play in the NBA. Unfortunately, there's just not enough jobs, as you well know.
Amen to that. The level of talent is great, but it's also quality exposure for these young men, because you never know whose eyes are on you to get that opportunity, because it only takes one yes, as you guys know.
Be and we feel with the TBL TV, I think it's streamed in like 145 different countries. Players get to be seen by overseas teams and coaches and what have you. So there's a tremendous opportunity for exposure there, along with we here in Indiana have had an opportunity to partner with a very talented NBA scout and NBA agent that is representing over 200 players internationally. So, it gives us an opportunity to expose our players to great contacts within the league and across the world. One of the things that I want to say about our Indiana All-Americans is the fact that we really stress quality of character first and foremost. And you can appreciate that, Scott, and I know Bobby and Mel do too. But the quality of character is first and foremost, because we're playing basketball in front of a lot of kids and parents who want to see good basketball and want to see good sportsmanship as well. So quality of character is first and foremost. Quality of talent is next.
Amen to that. And thanks for sharing that, because I do feel that's just vital. So for me to be sitting here with these two legends today, I'm going to be a better version of myself. And guys, I'll tell you what, let's talk about, yourselves, even though you may be uncomfortable with it. Talk about the successes that you guys have had, the successes that you've shared. You've both have spent time in the NBA. Bobby, I mean, come on.
Yes.
After that 1976, undefeated season, you're with the Seattle Supersonics. You get to play for Bill Russell. What was
Yes.
that like?
Well, it was a very good experience because I watched him as a kid, and then to be able to have him as my coach and what he went through in the game back when he played, and to sit by him on the plane and listen to the stories, and it was just awesome to be able to be in his presence. And then also he was a good coach.
I'd love to hear for that. What were some of the things that you took from him coming into your rookie year after playing for, one of the most famous, college coaches and basketball names in the game, Coach Bobby Knight?
Well, Coach Knight taught me a lot, and first of all about discipline and hard work. So when I got to Seattle, it was a little loose, and it wasn't to my liking. But it's just a whole new experience because those veterans and players that were there, they had been there before. Slick Watts, Fred Brown, Tom Burleson. So it was a new experience because I didn't have that coach because Bill Russell was laid back. He's been through so much, and Coach Knight was intense right from the beginning, and the whole practice. I mean, everything was about business, and so it was a difference. But I was able to adjust. But it was just a whole new world.
Yeah, I love hearing that because, again, you were surrounded by great talent. Was there any player, Bobby, who kind of took you under their wing and kind of taught you how to be a pro, how to take care of yourself, how to, take care of your body? Was there one person that you kind of had a mentoringship, from as a player?
Well, not really. Coach Knight prepared me in all that, and so people don't realize back then there was no practice limits. We practiced 7 days a week, and there was no time limits. So we endured. We were in the Army for those years.
Yeah.
As a way to put it. He was in the Army, so I learned everything from him. Military-wise, being on time, 30 minutes late means you late. And how discipline you for not being on time, discipline you for not going hard. So when I got to the pros, I was already advanced.
Hey, 30 seconds late to Coach Knight was the same as 30 minutes late. You might as well not even show up.
Yes. I
Oh,
learned
that's
that firsthand. I learned that firsthand by first day of practice coming in, and Scott never told me it's 3:30, so I get there around 3:00. And boy, when I got dressed and went on that court, I ran the whole day after that. Did not even touch the court.
Let me guess. I bet you were on the Assembly Hall Stadium stairs the whole time.
Yes, the whole two almost 3 hours.
I bet your knees are still feeling it. Let's be honest.
No, not now, because I soaked them real good over years.
There you go. There you go. Well, Kent, think about, you had a lot of accolades. Coming out of Newcastle, you're, Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana, just like, Mr. Magley that we talked a little bit about earlier. I'm an Indiana guy, so growing up watching TV4 and the Coach Knight show, and just growing up with you guys and you guys setting a precedence, being undefeated that 76 season. What was it like playing for a Coach Knight and having the amount of talent? There's Scotty May who's with you, and just some great guys who, you guys, bought in and believed in the system. And, there's only a handful of guys who can say you've had an undefeated NCAA season.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. No doubt blessed by God and highly favored, and so thankful for that. I was blessed to grow up in Newcastle, in a community that sports the largest high school gymnasium in the world. Seats so 10,000 when it have the stationary or the temporary bleachers up, and we filled it. Bobby had an opportunity to play there in the Newcastle Field House. Bobby and I met when we were in junior high school, and that mutual admiration and respect carried over into high school, and then of course being blessed to play with each other at Indiana University. Coach Knight was very demanding. Of course, he was very bombastic at the same time. And when I came in as a freshman, I know Bobby was just so happy that I was there, because he didn't get yelled at as much anymore. I was thinking all that. So
he took some of that heat.
Yeah, he took all of it.
Yeah. Well, I have, those broad shoulders and everything. I just think he assumed that I'd go ahead and be able to handle it. But Coach Knight is one that knows your potential. He studies you while you're in high school, and when you come to Indiana University, he knows exactly how he wants you to play and fit into his system, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to get you to play to your potential. And I was so blessed to be surrounded with such a great group of guys, and of course my friendship with Bobby. Our friendship has been over 50 years, and
Wow.
maintained that, and just so blessed and honored by that. But you talk about our undefeated national championship season in 1976, where we were 32-0. Actually, we were 33-0 because they didn't count the game that we beat the Russians in that season. Then you go back 2 years in 1975, we were 31-1, and those two seasons combined, we were undefeated 2 years in a row in the Big Ten, which is pretty awesome in itself as well. Not only the 32-0 undefeated national championship season, but the culmination of the 75, 76 Big Ten seasons. Those records are going to be difficult to break, and if they do, we're a group of guys that knows what it took to get there, and we'll be the first ones to congratulate somebody that may have that opportunity to go undefeated.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, and you think of all of the intangibles that you don't control, as players and coaches, you got to have a little bit of luck on your side, as you guys know. But you guys took on, and doing my research and going back, I mean, you had Tom Abernathy, Scott May, Quinn Buckner, Jimmy Cruz, who also did some coaching, Scotty Els. I mean, you talk about those relationships and those bonds, and here your bond, is 50 years in the making. And the fact that you're like, hey, we're going to do this show together. And I love that because, again, it showed that, relationships through this game are such a blessing. And can you guys speak on that a little bit?
Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I think it really is, because to be competitors in high school, but the key was he was in Anderson, I was in Anderson, and Kent was in Newcastle, which is 18 miles apart, and we needed him to come to IU. He was the missing link at that point to take care of everything in the middle, and so I embraced that because I knew that he what he could do. I knew he would become a great player, but we all had to come together and help each other, because when Kent came, Knight didn't holler at me no more. I had learned, and he took it out on Kent, and so I had to help Kent and keep lifting up, because it's frustrating. You got to have teammates to pick you up, because everybody's going to have a bad day. And if you don't have a bad day, just keep practicing, because everybody gets it, even when you don't do anything. So the relationship is really important. I know Kent's family. He knew my family. We still, to this day, my mom and my father, before they passed, and Kent's mom, before she passed, I hurt when he hurt. And that bond and his daughters and grandkids, I mean, it's just amazing. It's a friendship that only God could bring together.
Oh, see, I love hearing you say that because it shows that there's more to life than the game, but the game can build bridges and bonds and connections that are just you can't put a price tag on it. And I can hear that in your guys' voice as you admirably speak about each other. So thank you. And you think about Anderson and Anderson High School basketball, and you think of Newcastle. I grew up near Kokomo, where I was at Lewis Cass High School, where we had Ted Kitchell, who went on and played at Indiana University. So it's rich with basketball. To grow up in the state of Indiana, how much did that affect your journey? Of course, and then playing for Coach Knight, but then traveling and playing in the NBA. How much did those roots of growing up with Indiana basketball that made you who you were with your characters, both of you?
Well, I'd have to say that playing at Indiana under Coach Knight, he prepared you for life after basketball. Like Bobby said, he was prepared for the NBA. I was too. But when you talk about a team, talk about putting together a team, you talk about putting together a group of talented individuals who use their God-given talents and abilities, and at the same time, Scott, put aside their own personal agendas for the success of the team, knowing that when the team wins, everybody wins. And, you know, we all accepted that that idea of what a team is all about. And there was times where, you know, guys would have maybe an off night, but somebody else would pick up the slack. And when you have that, it just makes you all around. I mean, you think of, I get this question all the time, who was the best team we ever had to play against? And I think Bobby will agree, it was our second team. Our second team beat us many times and put the pressure on us and made us even better. And not saying anything negative against any of the teams that we actually played, but to tell you the quality of our second team made us better as a first team, and we complemented one another. And so that we were able to carry over into pro basketball. And it's a whole different world out there. They play different, they think different and all. And it was quite an adjustment for me, as I'm sure it was for Bobby as well. But I thank God for the foundation that I had set with my high school coach, with Cecil Tagg, and then Coach Knight, preparing me for not only the NBA, but for life after basketball, because the pressure, the situations that Coach Knight put us in during the basketball season and practice and whatever. I mean, our practices were so hard that when it came time to play a game, that was the easy part. I mean, we looked forward to the games because we didn't want to practice anymore. But you know, Bobby talked about, you know, there was no limits on the number of practices. You could practice 7 days a week and unlimited hours. And I know there were many times that we went, you know, 4-hour practices nonstop, and you know, but it paid off. And you know, as I look back, I would go back and play for Coach Knight if I had the same guys around me that I had in 75 and 76.
Wow, I love hearing that, because what I hear, and again, I've been blessed to have been around this game, you know, my entire life as well. Just having those Indiana roots, there's a passion, and it's kind of like a religion. Basketball is. You know, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and to hear those battles between your second team and the first team, it kind of reminds you of the 1992, you know, dream team that represented the country, you know, at the Olympics as well. So I love hearing, you know, those parallels and those analogies, because it truly is a fact that, you know, steel sharpens steel, and you have to, you know, pick each other up and be a team, and to be selfless to bring out the best in each other, so that way you can accentuate the positives and play to your best potential mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I want to share with you and your audience is the fact that our season started out, we didn't play Sister Mary of the Blind in a high school or anything like that to start the season. We started out with the world champions, the Russians. All right. And our second game was against the UCLA Bruins, who were champions the year before.
With
So
Marcus Johnson was on that team.
Johnson, absolutely. You know, and with those types of teams that we started out playing against, it just set the tone for the rest of the season.
Right. See, I love that, because, you know, I went back and was looking at it, and I'm like, wow, you know, the Russians, as you said, I mean, what a battle to prepare you guys as young men for the physical, you know, physical challenges, but also the mental challenges, because UCLA with Marcus Johnson, then you had Notre Dame in a close game, 63-60, Coach Digger Felton, that had Adrian Dantley and Bill Lambier. Talk about that game against Notre Dame in the early part of the season, that probably that rushing game where Coach Knight had you guys prepared for those types of challenges.
Well, I think he really prepared, especially in the beginning with the Russians. What Coach Knight taught us how to do was slay giants, because they were 7'2", 7'5", and it didn't make any difference. We had practiced so much
And
so
men,
long,
those were grown men.
Yes, and we went right at them because we had a strategy and we had a game plan, and we stuck to it. And it takes a heck of a player to change his game and make it fit for the team. because everybody can't do that. You have to be disciplined enough to see what happens. I come into IU as a scorer and just doing everything, and Coach Knight wanted me to change that. I was frustrated the first year, but what got my attention is when he sits you on the bench. I said, oh no, this is not going to work. So I learned okay, I got to improvise. I got to be able to play every position and be able to do everything everybody else can't do at those positions. And then be able to go the whole 40 minutes, 50 minutes, didn't matter. So I conditioned my mind and my body. And so it helped because with coming out of Indiana, coming from a big family of 13, I have 7 brothers. They beat me up real good. I mean, so I had no fear at that point. But growing 8 inches from the 9th to the 10th grade really helped me.
Wow.
And so my family was the roots in the background. And my mother told me when I went to college, son, don't you come back here. And so I had no choice because I was not going to the Army. That was not going to work for me. I was in the Army at IU. So it was a lot, but it was just having that friendship.
Right. For the general.
And meeting those guys.
There's that famous video of Coach Knight. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's that famous video of Coach Knight saying one of the best motivators was the bench because, butt hits bench, butt sends message to brain that you don't want to be there and you want to get out and compete. So, I mean, even though a lot of people see that stuff as boorish or, over the top, I mean, there was a method to Coach Knight's madness, and he had you guys mentally and physically prepared for the rigors of that 33 game season.
But we figured out, I did, because he got mad at me and Quinn one game and set us on the bench and didn't start us. But we didn't worry because we knew it wouldn't be long. We'd be getting in the game. And sure enough, 2 minutes, he wanted to set the example for us that, you guys are not above reproach. And okay, we got there, but we were down 6 points. And he hurried up, got us in the game. So we realized that, okay, you can be mad at us, but you still want to win.
I like it. Well, and then, of course, after that Notre Dame game against, AD and Bill Lambier, I mean, you had Kentucky, Coach Joby Hall, and Rick Roby. I mean, again, you didn't have a cupcake schedule. He was challenging you and preparing you early for that, physical Big Ten season, because everybody knows that's a finesse conference, and you guys had to be prepared for that night in and night out.
Well, the Big Ten, yes, it was finesse, but as much being physical as anything. I mean, there's a difference between being physical and being dirty. And we were a very physical team, and we were blessed to have finesse too, with Bobby and Quinn and Scott having the finesse and the ability. I remember playing against Bobby in high school when he was there at Anderson Madison Heights, and the things he could do with his body, controlling the basketball and covering the floor with his long arm span. And he alluded to the fact that he had to learn all 5 positions, and he not only learned them, he excelled at them, and he was no doubt the most versatile player that Coach Knight had ever had, because he could play all 5 positions. And when you have a teammate like that, that when he's out there in the front, he's going to definitely slow things down, and hardly ever is anything going to get past him. So, it was great playing behind him in the back court or in the front court as he and Quinn were up on the front court.
Man, thinking about that season, it still gives you chills to think about being undefeated. Who did you guys mark your calendar for? Because, Michigan played you well that year. Purdue played you well with Walter Jordan. But who did you set your calendar to be like, okay, we got to really bring our A game today? Because, of course, you guys are playing at a high level, but who were you ready for? Like, okay, it's game day. Let's go.
Well, well, for me, I really didn't set a calendar because it didn't matter who we played. Because once we get to the floor, it's strictly business. We don't send enough film. We don't had film after film. I'm so sick of film after I left college, but it worked because we knew the teams better than they knew themselves. And even if we were down, Coach Knight has taught us, you know, we might be down, but we just make our adjustments at halftime, and we're gonna get, because they're gonna celebrate like they don't won the game already at halftime. And a lot of them did that. They was cheering and dancing, and okay. And so we went in the locker rooms. Okay, now Coach Knight told us what to do, made our adjustments. We come back, first 5 minutes, game was over. So we were disciplined enough that we never looked one game at a time. It didn't matter who we played, whether it's UCLA, Notre Dame. We knew the team, the players on the team. We knew what they could do, what they couldn't do. We studied them. I had to study with 3 different groups: the guards, centers, and the forwards. So I had to really know them. But it really worked for us because Kent was behind me, and whatever I needed to do, I did it. But Coach Knight prepared us, and mentally and physically, we knew mentally we were tougher than anyone. They laughed at our candy striped pants, but the last 5-6 minutes of the game, we was on the bench laughing at them.
Yeah, and see, I love hearing that, Bobby, because what I'm hearing is you guys were so gifted, so talented, and so prepared. It was basically just you competing with yourselves and bringing the best out of each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that Coach Knight always said is that it's all about execution and us playing to our potential. But every time we went out playing to our potential and executing our offense, executing our defense. It was being the best that we could be. And Coach Knight didn't expect perfection from us. He expected excellence, and excellence is being the very best that you can be in everything that you do and every way that you do it, no matter what it is that you're doing. And we as a team knew that we were going out playing against our own potential, trying to make ourselves better each game. So it didn't matter who we played against. Like Bobby said, we were always prepared from the basketball standpoint, and we learned how to prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for the game as well, pre-playing it in our minds and when we came out there on the floor. Plus the fact that I think we were the best physical conditioned team in the entire country. Come the second half, we could run against anybody and run them out of the gym.
Yeah, just wear them down physically with with the finesse game, and then also being powerful, and then playing and executing and allowing your abilities to take care of the rest. Because Coach Knight, what he didn't correct, he was going to accept, and he didn't accept anything less than excellence, as you mentioned.
Well, Coach Knight talks about, he says the mental is to the physical as 4:1. And we heard that over and over and over again, didn't we, Bobby? I mean, There's no doubt that we were talented physically. It was the mental mistakes that he had a problem with. And, he would stress that the mental is to physical is 4:1. The mental is 4 times greater than the physical. And he would not tolerate mental mistakes. He could handle the physical mistakes, but he would not tolerate the mental mistakes.
I love that. Well, and Kent, take me to when you're drafted to the Bucks after playing those years and having success with Coach Knight. I mean, you get to play with one of the most innovative coaching minds in Don Nelson.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I was totally honored and humbled by the fact that I was chosen #1 in the NBA draft, and then to go to the Milwaukee Bucks with that rich basketball history and of course Don Nelson being a great Celtic player over the years and everything, but also being able to play with another teammate of mine, Quinn Buckner, who had went to the Bucks the year before. So and great talents and Brian Winters and Junior Bridgman, David Myers played at UCLA, of course. During the same draft, I was drafted #1. Marcus Johnson was like #2. #3 was Ernie Grunfeld from Tennessee. Wow. So there was a lot of talent there on that team.
There really was. And then Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the 11th pick in that draft. Is that correct?
Yeah, I came out in '76 draft. I was 11th pick to Seattle, and Dennis Johnson was the second round pick to Seattle.
Yeah, and so you think about that level of ability, and for you guys to be, I mean, your work ethic definitely set the tone and opened up eyes, but you guys were winners, and those pro franchises wanted those winners to build around. So you guys were able to take the success from Coach Knight that have you mentally and physically prepared that, you know what, the NBA was going to be a smoother transition for you. And then, Kent, you mentioned getting to play with Quinn Buckner, who's another IU grad. I mean, did that make the transition a little bit easier for you having, another IU player there with you?
It did, but I have to say that probably the most difficult transition was the fact that in the NBA, um, they don't play team defense.
Yeah, you're not all on a
and,
string
and
anymore.
so, this has been ingrained in me for 4 years with Coach Knight. We played team defense, and when you go and you're playing on a team that with great players, you just assume that they're going to be playing team defense, and it just didn't happen, and that was the problem. One of the most difficult things for me, and I'm sure Bobby, you experienced the same thing.
Yeah, I
Well,
experienced. Matter of fact, they did not play team defense. They didn't play no defense.
Well, I mean, and again, you guys with that relationship and with that foundation of being a team and being united, the right hand has to know what the left hand is doing and being able to communicate. I mean, I'm sure, Bobby, for you, if a guy penetrates, well, you knew Kent was going to be back there, to help you. But yet in the pros, you're playing so much one-on-one, and it's so individualized. Well, at IU, you knew someone had your back or someone was going to rotate over just because of the repetition. And all of a sudden, that luxury is gone in the league with those athletes that you're competing against, where that mental game is so important.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize that your college coach really makes a difference on his knowledge and how he prepares you. You go to a school where all you can do is run and just freelance. You don't accomplish the same type of physical or mental game because you don't know the game. Coach Knight is a stickler for fundamentals, and I had to learn that. I was one of those loose and goosey guys, just stand straight up and boom, steal the ball. But when he saw me on the bench, I learned to play fundamental defense. So, and in the NBA, once I seen what was going on there, those guys, I just said, you know what, I got to stick with what I know. And that's what I did.
Oh, see, that's beautiful. Because again, you guys got to play for some great coaches, not only in high school, but also college. But then I look at the coaches that you guys played for at the professional level. I'm out here in Salt Lake City where I was blessed and honored that Coach Jerry Sloan, may he rest in peace, he allowed me to come around for 2 years and observe and consult with him within my coaching journey. So, I mean, you're with the Bulls in 80 and 81, Bobby, where you
Yeah.
got to be with Coach Sloan, where hard nosed, tough. What was he like playing for with the Chicago Bulls?
He was an older version of Bobby Knight. I mean, he wanted defense, he wanted discipline, and he wasn't afraid to come and challenge you. And I love that because he challenged a lot of those guys. And we had a great season that year. We got beat, I think, in the best of 7 against Boston. We had a great record. We had great guys, Artis Gilmore, Reggie Theus, Ricky Sobers, Dwight Jones, Kobe Dietrich. I mean, we had some guys that we played well, but it just wasn't our time at that point. But the coach was great. I loved it. I came in 2 days before the season started, and I moved the guy out the way, and I got the job started because of how aggressive I was. And I knew Jerry Sloan loved that, and I loved playing for him.
Oh, just that hard nose. And of course, as I mentioned, Kent, being out here in Salt Lake City, Frank Layden is one of my friends. And what a character. And you got to spend time out here with the Utah Jazz in 86, 87 with Coach Frank Layden. What was it like being, now there's a difference in elevation. You've had a few years under your belt. You're with a young John Stockton and a Karl Malone and Thurl Bailey. But Coach
Art
Frank Layden,
Eaton.
what was that like, Kent?
Well, first of all, as you well know, Coach Layden is a comedian. He's a stand-up, sit-down comedian, and
Great storyteller.
Teller, he makes it fun. Of course, he knows the game of basketball and is serious, but he puts a flavor on it that you enjoy listening to him talk and hearing his expertise, knowledge, and experience about basketball. And of course, Jerry Sloan was the assistant coach, so I got to experience not only Frank Layden, but I got to experience Jerry Sloan along with Karl Malone, John Stockton, Mark Eaton. I see you in the background there. You have Mark's book, and God rest his soul. Mark and I became great friends. Mark and I became great friends, and he had a great business and ministry going as well. And
Amen.
Just hated to see his demise.
May he rest in peace, because he was great in the communities. And like you said, he had the restaurants, but he was always, doing camps with the youth. And we could go on and on about how high quality character individual he was. So the fact that you got to, spend time with him as a teammate had to be something that, is a special bond.
Hey, Bobby, I think we're going to have to write a book, because I see also Gracefully Broken by Walter Jordan there. So,
Okay.
Mark,
he wrote a book. We definitely need to write a book.
Yeah.
Hey, Melvin's right there with you. I'm sure he can help you get on that.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
those guys have been guests on my show previously. So to have you guys come on today and share your wisdom and share your knowledge and share your experiences, I mean, this is truly gold. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've got Kent Benson and Bobby Wilkerson with us, sharing their time and being of a servant heart that they have. Bobby, I mean, you even got to be, looking at it, with the Cavs. I mean, you had assistant coaches. You had Bill Musselman and you had Chuck Daly as coaches.
Yeah.
And then you took off and got to become a coach yourself at Maryland Eastern Shore. What did you take from all those coaches that helped you establish your philosophy and the life lessons and mentoring that you were going to teach your players?
I ain't take nothing from none of them but Coach Knight.
Okay.
Because I learned everything I needed to know that works right down there, and it works for a lifetime, and no matter what level you're at, it works, whether you're elementary or NBA, that works. Discipline, getting that respect, hard work, being able to take your position or take your skills and supplement them and say, okay, for the good of the team, I'll have to play point guard instead of two guard. I mean, so I took those lessons, and hard work is the best one. And because those young people that I worked with, whether it's University of Maryland Eastern Shore, Northwest High School, University of Colorado, or even at the community center in Anderson, all of them are the same. Hard work, pay attention, respect, because a lot of kids don't respect coaches or teammates. So teaching that respect and getting rid of them if they didn't want to do it, because you got to be hard on them, because they don't know. They're spoiled, they were spoiled rotten. But once they realize my story, and I utilize all that I learned to be a blessing to them, and let them know that if it wasn't for God, they wouldn't even be here.
Ooh,
so
amen.
Just setting that experience and let them know that God is in control of everything. So don't matter where you go to high school, don't matter where you go to college, whatever He has for you, and nobody else can get it. But faith without works is dead.
Oh, Bobby, preach, brother. Amen. I love hearing that stuff. As you can tell, I'm a man of faith myself. So to hear you guys, share your, spiritual knowledge and your faith, it's very refreshing, because there is so many life lessons that this game teaches us and parallels us and prepares us for life. But hearing you talk about those fundamentals and those life lessons that Coach Knight taught you that are still ingrained within you, I mean, it radiates off of you, through your words.
Well, Scott, go ahead, Bobby. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'll finish, Kent. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to make a comment about, I don't know if you know it or not, Scott, but IU is the only university ever talked about in the Bible. Scott?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, in John 20:21 of the King James Version, it says this: "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Even as the Father has sent me, so send I you."
Kent, you just took me to school right there. I love it. That's beautiful right there. I don't even know how to follow that up.
That's the King James Version now.
Oh, wow.
James Version.
That's great stuff. Guys, we've got, 10, 12 minutes here. The game of basketball has been so good to us. I mean, we've all been blessed within our journeys and within our travels and hopefully the lives that we've been able to touch and how to empower others. Who were some of the other teammates? And of course, even the IU guys, I mean, Scotty May or the whatnot, but, seeing Mike Woodson right now going back to IU and taking over the reins of that program, what does that do to your heart and soul to see a Mike Woodson come in and try to resurrect that program and that tradition to get it back to where you guys know it should be?
Well, Scott,
Well,
I'd like to address this and the fact that it's been 20 years, the anti-Knight mentality at Indiana University, and finally, after all these years, they've hired a former Indiana basketball player that played under Coach Knight, and he's bringing the discipline, he's bringing the mental attitude and all, and if they're not going to play within his realm of what he wants to accomplish, they can go somewhere else and play. And of course, that transfer portal has allowed that. And I think there's no doubt. And when Mike has an opportunity to put together his team, he's going to make some real noise, not only in the Big Ten but in the NCAA. Bobby.
Yeah. It was a great first step for them to get into the play-in game and to get, because again, it's going to be steps and it's going to take him a couple years to get his talent and his players to meet his philosophy and his style. So just Indiana fans, be patient, but it's going to come.
And I hope that they give him the time to transform the team, because, he's a former Knight guy and he knows what he knows.
Yeah, I like that.
Taught very well, and I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah, he did. He put a stamp
I hope
on
he
there.
get a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he get a long-term deal, so give him a chance. So many coaches, Kareem had what, 12, 14 years. These other coaches, and then here we got an IU guy who knows the game and from Indiana, just like me and Kent, from Indiana, homegrown. Just giving him a chance to get his own players and let him do it his way, no matter what happens. And I think he would get a lot of support.
Yeah.
Scott, Bobby and I would like to thank you so much for the opportunity to join your show here. And as you know, we had sent you a video of a show with Kelsey Nicole Nelson. And we know that you've had an opportunity to listen to that, but there's some points that we'd like to share with you and your audiences. And Bobby, would you like to go ahead and start out there?
Yeah. Well, all this revolves around the time we was at IU. We won the championship, and right after that, they started making money off our signatures, name, images, and likeness. And for them to take our signatures, make copies, and every year sell them to different companies to put on memorabilia, clothing, sportswear, and then they make billions and billions of dollars over the last 40 years plus, and never acknowledged us to pay us for our name, image, and likeness. But now they want to pay players. Pay them for what? I mean, what are they going to get a lifetime contract? We didn't have a lifetime contract, and we think that's very unfair, because we gave our best to the university. We did something that no other university has ever done. Greatest team in college basketball history. And it's been 40-something years. No one has ever been undefeated since '76. And they talk about they love us and they love their players. The whole university is at fault, because their love is money. And for them not to acknowledge us, not to take our signatures and use them, I think that's fraud. When they take our signatures and make copies, and every IU alumni, every IU fan that has memorabilia in their house, in their office, look on there and see our signatures. We didn't sign it. We didn't sign it. We had none. They forged our signatures.
Wow.
And our likenesses, and sold them, whether it's in the archives or, it's licensing. They made billions. The people they sold it to made billions. That's not fair. And we're not going to settle for that. We're on an attack to let them know, no, you owe us. You had no right to forge our name, likeness, and image, and we're standing against that. So this is why we're going after them, because the truth crushed down must rise. It must rise. And God is with us because they're wrong. They'll make billions and billions of dollars. IU Foundation, athletic department, athletic directors, even all those who are gone, licensing, you name it, archives, the whole IU marketing PR firms. It's crazy. But then they're so arrogant. They never responded to us. It's been 8 months, but that's okay. We know how to slay a giant. Ask Russia. We know how to slay a giant, and Coach Knight taught us how to slay a giant through all the way he commanded us and directed us and pulled the troops together and had a strategy and a purpose. And that's where we at, because we're not going to lay down with this. I know they thought we would die off, but God said, nope, not yet.
Scott, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
No, I'm just saying, I'm glad we can use this platform to bring awareness to this situation, because again, it's a mentality where it's gone on for years, where the NCAA has done that and they've been very reactive for years, and finally they're being proactive. But yes, how can we go back and take care of those who pioneered and paved the way for these young kids to have those opportunities? So I'm in 100% agreement to, hey, let's use this platform to bring awareness to what those grievances are, and also to Indiana University to kind of share some love back to you guys who paved the way.
Scott, we're first and foremost, we're asking them to respect us enough, give us enough respect to respond to our inquiries that are written and verbal. Our manager, Melvin Forbes, has reached out to them to no response in the last 8 months. I mean, that's absurd. And we can talk about when Bobby and I formed the 32-0 Undefeated National Champions Foundation to raise money for charities. Okay, we garnered a lot of different memorabilia that had our images, our likenesses, our names on them. Okay, and we had to present it to Indiana University, the licensing branch. And they were going to charge us for each and every item that had our name, image, and likenesses on there. Not the whole group, but every single one. They were going to charge us for our own names, images, and likenesses. That's absurd.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, let's share this content. Let's continue to build awareness for this, because again, justice needs to be served. I mean, there is an NIL now, but again, what can we do for you guys? How can we serve you, and how can we protect your rights? And let's go after that giant to slay it.
Well, I think one of the ways is that we're getting together with our management team, and we have a strategy behind what we're trying to do. We're putting together information to get stuff on the social media. We get people to sign up and be part of this movement, because this affects every family in Indiana. It affects every IU alumni. It affects fans all over the world, because if they treat us like this and we work for what we had and they cheated and robbed us, what are they going to do to these players now? So every family need to get on board, because at some point, they might be looking at the same thing. So, but we have something that no one else has. We're the greatest team in college basketball history, and we got 40 plus years they've been stealing. So I think if we can get the alumni and all the IU fans, everyone who hear our story and feel compassionate, we'll have a way they can sign up with us, and we can move this forward, because it's a David and Goliath story. So Goliath won't come to us, we'll go to him. So we're going to get this done, but we do need all the support from all the fans, all the people that know that this is a good cause and we're doing the right thing, because the truth always stands on its own. Because if they thought we were lying, how come they say nothing? They didn't call us out because they know the truth. They're a public university. Them records are open for public. And we know, because we got the material and stuff that they did, we had to buy it. So we ain't doing. We knew 20 years ago, but it wasn't the right time to come forward then. But now it is. So we do need everyone's support.
Yeah, I like that. So I mean, again, let's share these links. Let's get this content out. Let's try to put a little put a little muscle behind the hustle here and just get it going because again, let's get you guys fairly compensated for the work and for the efforts and for the sweat equity you have put into it and let's get it going and support you guys. You brought us you brought us entertainment for years, you brought us memories. Let's take care of you.
Well, thank you, Scott. And it's bigger than just Indiana University. I mean, we're talking about ESPN and CBS and Showtime and all these different entities out there that have made money on us, and we've not been paid a dime for that. And not only Indiana University, but Bobby and I are also speaking for other teams that have experienced the same thing, just weren't never brought aware. It was never brought aware to them, and hopefully we're setting the tone for that.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's unprecedented what you guys are going against, and I love that you're passionate about it. And when I watched that video and I was listening to it, I was like, you know what, we must do better. We must be better. We got to take care of each other. So I'm really glad that you guys could come on here with us and kind of share, how passionate you are about this and how you're not going to back down.
Scott, our management team is in the process of putting together about a 3 to 5 minute version of the interview that we had with Kelsey, and we're gonna use that to send out rather than the whole interview of an hour and 15 minutes. We feel that it'll be an attention getter and will allow us an opportunity to have a lot more interviews, much like yourself. And we're so honored and blessed that you would take the time with us and allow us to join you here on your show. And I know that you've got a large audience, a large following and everything. And thank you so much for your support. It's great being able to talk to an Indiana boy, and it was great to hear that you were back in Indiana. I hope your mother's doing better and all. And God bless her and your family. And thank you so much for our time here today.
Well, no, I feel honored and humbled to be able to share this time with you guys and allow you to share your experiences. And yet, let also make sure people know and have awareness to this serious situation that, we can no longer stand for. And let's take these snippets, let's get it out on social media. Let's use our platforms. Let's let our voices be heard. And, I know good things are going to happen to good people like yourselves, and I enjoy the fight and the passion and the purpose that you guys have. So, without hesitation, I couldn't wait to allow you guys to come on and share your words with us.
Scott, I just want to say thank you. We're blessed to have a fellow Hoosier, and we're family. So it's such a blessing that you allowed us on, and we thank you. I thank you on behalf of my management team, Melvin Forbes, Forbes Consultant and Associates, along with his associates, Kermit and Robbie. And I thank you on behalf of our attorney, the Nobel Waters of the Waters from Atlanta, Georgia. And me and Kent both really thank you, and our families thank you. I'm from a big family, Kent's from a big family. We just thank you for allowing us to come on and express what we have went through, but we will not stop. And so our management team, he's Melvin Forbes, 243-8097. He'll handle all the business for us, but we're going to use some clips from this taping too, Scott, if you don't mind, regarding
Please.
NIL and rally that in too. If you don't mind, we want to use that, and we love your voice that you will continue to, we'll come back on if we have to. If it's okay with you, we'll talk sports again and get back down to the mood. Because I think you have a great show, and I'm so proud and honored that you would allow us on. And I thank you, and God bless you.
Oh, no, God bless you guys. Any last words that you want to share? Because let's share it now, just so we get that message out strong and clear.
Yeah, well, the last words is we need their support, but we also need them to understand what we're going through, and that we are here to fight the battle. I think when we first did the video with Kelsey, that started this movement. we were the first one that came out and talked about the injustice that the university has done. And so we just want to rally not only the fans and alumni, but all former players, all former IU athletes, no matter what sport, get on board, because this affects everyone. And we just have to we have history, which is fine, but at the end of the day, whether it's 1 year or 46 years, it's still a misuse of justice.
Yep, I agree. And fellas, just know that I stand with you. I stand together with you, united. Anything and everything that I can do, let's make sure that we get you the support that you guys need and deserve. God bless you both. And may you continue to have the passion and purpose for this cause and continue to fight for this cause. Because right now, we're just making some game time adjustments. And yet we're going to come out and finish strong on this because it needs to be done.
Absolutely, Scott. Thank you so much, and God bless you, and God bless your listeners.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time. Again, ladies and gentlemen, Kent Benson and Bobby Wilkerson fighting for a cause that is meaningful and full of passion and purpose, because there's so many people that can be affected by this injustice. So let's fight for this injustice. Let's turn the corner and let's make things right. God bless you all. Thank you for watching another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show.
Thank you.